Hello. Um, where do I start? Good morning. Um, well, today is June 18th, 2025, and there's an enhanced risk of severe weather across portions of the mid east. I don't know my things that well. But uh basically, I have not read this yet, and I don't think I want to read this. And I'm not gonna use AI to summarize it, although I would love to. Um, Hold on, I'm just gonna skim through real quick. Okay, never mind. So what I do know is that is the enhanced risk, slight risk, marginal risks across three different places. The tornado risk is what I focus on. I don't focus on the wind or hail risk, and the hail risk isn't even that big of an issue, in my opinion. They gave them a slight risk because of both the hail and damaging wind risk. So the tornado risk is what I mainly focus on. It's a 5% chance in places in Michigan. Thank God I got that right. Ohio, most, if not all of Indiana, Illinois, and even places in Kentucky. Very slim portion of Kentucky. I believe I said Ohio. So like Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, Indianapolis, Indiana. I think that's what it's called. I hope. Toledo, Ohio, and Louisville, Kentucky. Really? Wow. Interesting. Uh, thank God dude, I'm a mess today. I just woke up, mind you. So these are some of the model forecasts. This isn't even updated. Go to the Okay, so this is obviously yesterday's forecast, but I'm gonna skip to today's. They don't have the most accurate yet, but I'm gonna go in many different models. This is obviously reflectivity first, and we're also going to look at a different model I utilize. Um, what is this? It's at 20 UTC. So this is about 4 p.m. My time. It's just Eastern time. Um, Mainly watching a few updrafts, especially in the north, which does correlate to the tornado risk, which is here. That wants to go away. This would be awesome. Thank you. It mainly stays confined to this region. You might get see a few pop-ups in the 2% region, but not really. We'll get to day two's forecast later, but there is a tornado risk in day two, and obviously as we can already see when it's gonna go across some of that area. Um, So what they're mainly looking at here is I don't know because I didn't read the thing. Uh, don't question me. Don't question me. I'm staying logged out real quick. I'm just gonna get at the summary. Actually, there's a summary. Severe thunderstorms are expected today from parts of southern Missouri, northeastern to southern Great Lakes. Scattered numerous damaging winds, isolated large hail, and a few tornadoes all appear possible. Yeah, but I want them to summarize everything because you guys aren't summarizing enough. So we're gonna get. It's not my morning. Yeah, perfect. I'm not gonna lie to you because I'm not reading all that. Tomorrow, even if I do a video tomorrow, it would be a lot better. 'Cause I'll actually read it before I do this. Um, I'll also like dumb this down a little bit for people that don't understand meteorology like I do. I want to also make sure I put this out there. I am not a meteorologist, and I'm not. I could be wrong. I want it to take everything, oh, like from me. Um, and if something does go wrong, you're getting a tornado or something, I highly recommend you go to your local National Weather Service or like your local TV broadcaster, like the news, for that matter. Um, that will give you the most accurate um, guess things that's happening. And since I cannot live stream to tomorrow, um, I won't be able to do anything like that. But that's okay. That's okay. So the observed sounding. Thank God we get these. Today's 18th. Yeah. So here, which is something we actually a lot of people, especially meteorologists, use is the observed soundings. I want to focus on this little region here. K does not appear to be that high in this area, and the sin is kind of high, and the LCL though is very low. So that's very interesting. Most unstable because they don't have any soundings in this real area. I guess we can look at this, but that's not yeah accurate. No, no, they have no soundings in Indiana, and that's kind of BS in my opinion. Yeah, so this is not gonna help be too helpful right now. Awesome. That's not helpful. So, okay, that's why we have this. Okay, so like just a random area in Indiana. Cape is pretty low. This is the middle part. If I go, because I think most of it was going to be northern, it's still pretty low. That's interesting. What time is this? Anyway, this is at 8 a.m. You can see kind of ramps up at this time. It's still very low. Because I'm looking at Cape, and this is not also everything we're going to go after, because that's why I'm using these models. And yeah, it's just right now. Okay, so this is the radar I'll be using always. It's Radar Omega. Personally, my favorite radar. I know you probably looks like a mess right now, and even to me, it kind of looks like a mess. But the main area we are focusing on, excuse me, is this region. We are going to look at the HR model. Has it fully updated? No, we're gonna use 12D then. Oh, we're not looking at all this because unless you guys are really concerned about the temperature, because I'm personally not. Reflectivity is the first thing I want to look at here. Again, Indianapolis does have that tornado risk, and it's one of the bigger ones. So we're gonna run a few models through here real quick. This is at 3 p.m. Um, I love this by the way. As we can clearly see, very long line of severe weather, and it's right outside Indianapolis. Actually, some strong hail cores in these areas being already picked up on reflectivity, which is very interesting. Even up here in near Pontiac and right in Urbana, I mean, very strong hail cores being picked up on reflectivity. We go to this is now at 5 p.m. It's just moving out of Indianapolis, and this is not any updraft thing, so I'm not gonna be able to see that. And we don't normally see what you call it on hooks on radar. This is at 4 p.m. Indianapolis is basically getting the worst of it. We were picking up like 63 dBz in here, which max it goes to is 85. So still, that's a pretty good indication as hell. Um, but by 11 p.m. it's at a area in Indianapolis. But if we, I mean, it's kind of weakening as it goes north. It's now a line of severe weather that is really all up here. So that's at 11 p.m. and it kind of weakens out, and then New Jersey in that area gets its risk, which we will get into on the second half of this video. Um, Looking out at none of this, we're gonna look at the severe weather aspect. This is EHI. Um, Basically, updraft shit. Excuse me, you don't mean to say that mean word. Um, I don't fully remember what it stands for. Again, I'm not a licensed meteorologist, but I want to focus on Indianapolis as I feel like Indianapolis, Chicago, Detroit area. Um, we can see that at 5 p.m., most of the EHI has gotten out of there, but we're looking at 4 p.m. and it does kind of get up there. I mean, we're talking 2.8 in some areas. That's not good. Thank God it's not 11. Be bad, but it's also not forecast. Fast forecast to get that high. Looking areas up to here that we're going to reach 4.2, which is still really bad. I also probably should mention this. The enhanced risk is not for tornadoes. The enhanced risk is for damaging wind gusts. This system that I've been tracking is more of a wind system, if you will. It doesn't produce tornadoes. Just it hasn't really produced too much tornadoes, and in that fact, not a lot of damaging tornadoes. So that's a good thing. We don't want to see damaging tornadoes. We're looking at 0 to 3. It's obviously going to be a lot more up there because this is now 33 kilometers in the atmosphere. And Indianapolis is deep in that at 4.4. So, and even places up here in the Kingashi, they get to 6.4. So that's really high, and that's something to be concerned about, in my opinion. Uh, Surface-based CAPE, which is something I want to focus on here, because this is CAPE is how strong an updraft is going to be. I gotta turn this shit off. If I'm recording. Um, so Indianapolis at 4 p.m. is already kind of deep in it, already in 2000s, which is very strong updraft. And then, but Sin's gonna be a big determinant in this, but I bet you it's already really low. If you guys have the tornado list, then the Sin's also gonna be very low. This got some stuck on me. We got off. Whoopsie. Ugh. Going. I wish there was like a thing I could just hit the backwards button on, but I have to go to here. This is at 3 p.m. So again, it's a thing that's coming in this way. So it's gonna take its time, but when it gets here, you want to be prepared. The supercell composite, very clear indicator of how strong a supercell could be. I want to focus at the 4 to 5 p.m. region. Is when I think you guys are probably getting good. West probably at 4 p.m. Supercell composite is really high, up to 8.1 in some areas. That's not good. But the good news is the max you can get is 50, and it's obviously not there. You won't see 50 very often, as we're talking about like the Epic of 2011. Even then, I probably want to reach 50. We also have a Mesozoic discussion. Watch possible for the St. Louis area. Near the St. Louis area, there's a lot of places east of it, such as though as north of Little Rock, north of Memphis, and south of Bloomington. That area, and basically gets into Mount Farron. So that's what we're watching at there for possible severe thunderstorm watch, but I'm not focusing on that. All these places up at school, so that's good. The STP, very good indicator of how a tornado could form here. In Indianapolis at this time, it's at 1.7, which is kind of low. you know, I mean, it's still moderately high, but for a tornado, you want to be up higher. I'm talking like a 4.5 region. So that's good. But if we're looking northern, do not mean to turn that on. Talking northern, this is in the 3.0 region, 3.1 region. So they're a lot higher. This place up here, uh, mainly this whole area, I'm thinking probably could get something tornado wise. I've been watching this on just even watching this here. It looks like there's the highest chance they're gonna get a tornado up there. Um, the max updraft velocity at 4 p.m. is staying over here, all over there, and I mean that's really high at 300. When does it get the worst? You see, 'cause that's just gonna highlight all the updrafts that are possibly happening. So it's not like we can focus on this. 5 p.m. So that's not anything we can really concern ourselves over as of right now. Surface-based sin, very big thing here. This is really going to determine how much updraft we're going to get in Indianapolis at this time. 4 p.m. No, nothing. So nothing's going to stop this. And at 5 p.m., maybe. It's looking like something could stop this. And you guys are probably thinking, I see a hook. Because there is obviously a hook. But this isn't reflectivity. Even on reflectivity, there's no hook. But that is something to look at 4 p.m. Shear is also up there, so I think you want to be really worried. Not really, not exactly worried, but prepared at 4 to 5 p.m. Yeah, 4 to 5 p.m. I think Indianapolis is probably when you're going to see your risk happen. Looking at Chicago, and this is going to be such a long thing, and this is such a scuffed version of it too. It's my first ever video, so pardon me. 3 p.m. This is at 4 p.m. This is into 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So I'm gonna look at 5 p.m. for Chicago. I think that's when we're gonna get the worst. Already at 5, nothing here. And all you get any bigger at 3. So this is that's a good indicator that shouldn't be any tornadoes. The Cape isn't really that high. It's actually very low. Not even where anything could fully get going. Cape says stays relatively low. I know that's into tomorrow. I'm saying so. Cape in Chicago stays relatively low for most of it. I mean, it kind of does peak at what is that 6 p.m. When does it peak? Oh, it stays southern of it. So maybe 4 p.m. No, 3 p.m. So Chicago's in this risk, right? I'm not stupid. Yeah, Chicago's in the tornado risk that we're focusing on. Huh, interesting. I'll look at Detroit real quick. Nope. Detroit at 3 p.m. is not going through too much of it. I want to look at reflectivity though. So it won't get really bad till like I saw 8 p.m., 7 p.m. So yeah, probably like around 8 p.m. That's when it's gonna move to the Detroit area. So looking at this, this should stay relatively away from you, relatively east of you. The EHI doesn't do anything. Supercell composite is also staying away from you, so this is another good indicator. Supercell shouldn't form, which is also a really good indicator that you shouldn't get any too bad weather. Cape is up to 1000s, so a little strong updraft, but the STP stays relatively low. In the SYN is at 0, so there's nothing to stop these updrafts. But what I'm seeing, Detroit shouldn't get much of any tornado. Biggest concern is this northern region at about 4 to 5 p.m. and Indianapolis. Let's get into the summary of the weather outlook. Mesoscale convection vortex MCV over Missouri will move northeast, supporting thunderstorm development from eastern Illinois into Indiana by late morning afternoon. I wish I had a radar that's not like this. Whatever. What they're saying, because I'm just going to run reflectivity, and I'm just going to put it at 5 p.m. What they're talking about is this system. Like how it has like that spin to it. It's going to push through the Missouri region in Indianapolis, because this is not exactly the time that they're talking about. Looking, 13Z's up, which is a lot more accurate. This is now at 10 a.m. Obviously, it's already past 10 a.m., but this is where it is about now. It's going to be pushing into this region, that's what they're saying. Uh, and cause multiple squall lines. Squall lines, that's a winter term. Multiple QLCSs. Moderate instability and 40 to 50 knot southwestern flow will support organized storms, including possible supercells, but storms may quickly become linear. What that's saying is instability is how strong a storm could be based off atmospheric conditions, and since it's moderate, meaning there is stuff that can get going. What's happening here? Tornado risk, which is fine. And 40-50 knot, which is shear, that's really good shear. Actually, that's really significant shear. But storms may quickly become linear because just not that strong. This isn't the best atmosphere for storms like this. Main threat is damaging winds scattered to numerous clusters, line-embedded tornadoes, which basically means, nope, do not pull that up. Such a bad thing. Let's see. Okay, so that's line here. A few tornadoes could pop up, like I guess right there, maybe some right here, but they would be short-lived. And some hail. Severe threat extends into southern lower Michigan by evening before weakening further east. Now looking in the southern plains to the mid-south, that would be this region. That's what we're looking at here. Warning storms in central Oklahoma may linger short term before weakening. Later today, new storms are expected along the south of a cold front with moderate to strong instability. Gonna come over here now. The cold front would be right here that they're worried about, so it's gonna move into this region, which can cause some storms. Storms may begin as supercells, which would be the main threat is hail, and then cluster, increasing the damaging wind threat. This would be the Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Mid-South region that we are looking at for this. Now we have the northern plains and the upper Midwest. That would be up here. So this is the Fargo, Grand Forks, this whole region up here. And that's if it's not exactly lookable. This. Limited moisture, but steep lapse rates may support scattered storms this afternoon. The threats is isolated severe wind gusts and marginally severe hail. Storms will remain isolated and marginal into the week or shit in a sense. So no tornado risk, but maybe some strong wind gusts and severe hail. The Mid-Atlantic, which if you guys don't know what that is, I've covered every single area, so you know it ain't this, and it's surely not this. It's that little area that also includes my area. So, a weak disturbance will cross in the region with moderate instability and moist level air. Storms will develop over the Appalachians and move east. Expect multi-cell storms with the risk of damaging winds, mainly this afternoon to the evening. So the overall threat today would be damaging winds, which is the primary threat, as this is a enhanced risk. The wind threat, there's no whatchamacallits, which is really good. So we shouldn't see any too strong storms. We have some isolated hail in certain areas, and then tornadoes mainly in the Midwest, Ohio Valley, if supercells persist. That's what we have for this today's risk. And I want to go over tomorrow because, god damn it, dude, I better be better if I do when I do another video because this has been the best. I'm gonna go over tomorrow real quick because this is my area and it's a pretty big risk. As we can see, there's a slight risk already for the whole area of the Mid Atlantic, basically. The tornado risk is staying very limited to some parts of West Virginia, Virginia, um, Maryland, all of Delaware, Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, all of Vermont, all of New Hampshire, basically, and Maine. I'm gonna get a summary real quick. So the summary from the Storm Prediction Center is strong to potentially severe thunderstorms are forecasted on Thursday from parts of New England and the Mid Atlantic and Carolinas. But I've not read this. Don't worry. If there's a video needed tomorrow, there will be a genuine summary off me, and I summarize what they say. You can't spell summarize right. And since this model, we won't get too much off this because this only goes to 3 a.m. tomorrow. We can run this. How's this go to? Oh, that's the 21st. Oh yeah, that's great. 27. Yeah. This will not be too accurate because it's a model and that's a day out. So we too accurate. If there's a video that's needed tomorrow, which I don't think there will be, but there's always a chance there will be a bit more accuracy to it. But a large mid-sized upper level trout will move into the Great Lakes into the northeast mid-Atlantic with a cold front pushing through the northeast mid-Atlantic and southeast. Saying basically cold front are the normal fronts that cause severe weather, and in this sense, that's what's going to be moving through the mid-Atlantic Great Lakes. Another short-lived trout will move across the upper Midwest, but the developing western U.S. trout begins influencing the northern high plains. So, man, I'm a mess. Here they're worried about, and up here they're worried about. There's going to be something coming in over here. It's going to push into here. It's going to cause this and influence some of this risk. These are summaries: New England to the Mid-Atlantic and Southeast. Moist, rich air and daytime heating will create moderate instability. Daytime heating is when the sun's out during the day, and that heats up the atmosphere, which causes bad weather and a larger tornado risk. Oh, not ate breakfast yet. I'm doing that right now. Excuse me. Northern Mid-Atlantic to New England, Pennsylvania to Vermont, New Hampshire. Strong deep layer shit. That's very bad. That's very strong indication that a tornado could pop up. Depending on how bad the Cape is and other alignments, we could see a tornado. That's for organized bowing segments and supercells. So we're looking. Supercells are the storms that cause tornadoes. Not every tornado forms off a supercell, but they are mainly formed off of supercells. And not every supercell causes a tornado. Damaging winds, isolated tornadoes possible, which I don't know why the thing isolated because of this thing. We're looking at strong deep layers shear and bowing segments, which mainly cause damaging wind gusts and hail. Supercells. I don't know why we have an isolated risk. Oh, but this is my area, so the southern Mid-Atlantic and the Carolinas. Weaker but significant flow for organized storm clusters. Main threat is scattered damaging winds and a well-heated areas. So tomorrow in this area, you want to watch out for sunny skies, basically the morning into the afternoon. If you see that, um, you might get a tornado, or you could just see bad weather in general. Southeast, almost said Minnesota, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina. Biggest share by high cape and moisture. Storms could produce isolated damaging gusts. This is the upper Midwest, which is Minnesota, Wisconsin, upper Michigan. Shortwave drought and warm advection may support storms during the day. Threats of large hail and damaging winds. A second round of strongest storms is possible Thursday night with strengthening rollover jet. Look at it. Oh, like 2 rounds. I'm looking over here. I don't know why. All right, I'm autistic. Yeah, 2 rounds. This is at the 20th. So round one, looking at Jersey. Yeah, 6 p.m. What I'm looking at. 6 to 7 p.m. You're gonna push through the area that I'm located in. But up here, they should be. At least what I'm looking at. I could be wrong. They don't look that strong. And I mean, these storms in general don't look that strong. But that's just reflectivity. Southwest Montana, strong daytime heating and limited moisture would trigger higher base storms. That's not good. Steep lapse rates and middle of flow support isolated severe wind gusts. Surprise, what's one of ask? I guess there's no limited moisture. Northern plains, that's North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Montana. Mountain showing instability expected by afternoon. Storm development is uncertain due to rising mid-level heights, ridge influence. If storms do form, possibly near the surface trout/dry line, they could become organized. Elevated storm potential is possible Thursday night with low-level jet and hail, strong wind threat. So uncertainty, and this because of the mid-level heights, storms, how high they could get, basically. Key hazards into Thursday is a northeast Mid-Atlantic damaging winds and isolated tornado. Southeast is isolated strong damaging gusts. Up in Midwest is hail, damaging winds, especially at night. Northern Plains is conditional hail such wind threat mainly overnight. And Southwest Montana is isolated strong winds from high base storms. Um, it's like the Annapolis area still didn't get anything at 8 p.m., which the threat is on this area. I'm okay. Here you go. So this is at 2 p.m. The Cape already. This is still moderately low. The SRH. That's sheer. The service base Cape is at 3,000, which is really high. I look at mid-level Cape, which is ML, because that's the most accurate, and then MU is most unstable, which is not always the most accurate, and the ML sin is also very low. So this just tells me that there could be something. Moving into, I guess I could also look at the Detroit area. It's not too high. And I guess we go to Chicago's area. Still not too high. Gonna 8 p.m. real quick. Detroit area. That's still moderate though. Chicago area. Nothing. Okay. So looking into tomorrow now. So the risk would be. So this is at 2 p.m. This is around my area. Still kind of low Cape. I know it doesn't look like it, but I look at ML most, and that's still moderately low. But into 8 p.m. No, it's still pretty low. So looking into the like just random places up here, that's still pretty low. By 8 p.m. when it looks like they're probably getting in this region, it's still very low. So and these aren't the most accurate things either. It's still days out. It's still like the whole day out. So things are going to change modelly wise. But I think you want to stay in tune with your local weather station. Looking at even the National Weather Service, the Indianapolis National Weather Service, once it wants to open. Perfect. Uh, all severe hazards possible, industrial localized flooding. Severe weather outlook is a 3 out of 5. Again, Indianapolis is the main area. Tornadoes, isolated tornadoes possible. Hail has 1 inch hail or more possible. Winds, 6 to 7 mile gusts possible. And flooding, localized flooding is possible. Lowest risk is flooding, and the highest risk is damaging winds. Uh, Timing's anywhere from 2 to 10 p.m. So you guys don't worry about it until then. Here, another story. This is the only one for today. And I'm doing this area because this is also Philadelphia, and this is in my area. And it's the national reserve I go off of. Dangerous heat and storm chances on Wednesday. There's obviously a severe weather risk. I said it's scattered damage capable of producing damaging winds not possible this afternoon and evening. I'm not too worried about today compared to what I am worried about any other day, especially tomorrow. So we're gonna leave it at there. You know, I think that's where we can leave it off at. Uh, Um, any questions? Leave them in the comments. I'll answer. Bye, guys.